Happening now after the train derailment in Ohio, local municipal leaders are reviewing their emergency response plans, making sure they're prepared for similar situations. And the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame honors nearly a dozen for their influential actions in the world of sports. Plus, a one-on-one interview with a New York comedian recording his new album right here in Jamestown, why he has made it his mission to highlight underdog cities like our home of humor.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up. But first, we start with First Defense weather as a complex storm is coming to our region, bringing the potential for some snow and freezing rain Wednesday and Thursday. Chief Weather Forecaster Andrew Stevenson joining us now with more. And we're talking about winter weather here, Andrew, but it seems like a springtime storm has popped up for many across our area right now.
You might be hearing a couple rumbles of thunder out there. There's a cold front off to our west, and out ahead of a cold front, there's a line of showers and even a couple rumbles of thunder moving through the region right now. Right now, this is currently moving moving through Jamestown as we speak, but this frontal system is quickly moving off to the area. So as it moves off to the east, you might hit some rain, some grapple, and even a couple of rumbles of thunder. So let's talk about this complex winter storm that's going to be happening as we head into tomorrow night and into Thursday. This is a complex winter storm that's going to have different precipitation depending on where you are. Across northern areas where the Niagara frontier, up in northern Erie County, up in the Buffalo area, it looks like it's going to be staying mainly as a snow event. And then you get across southern Erie and northern Chautauqua County, where it looks like it's going to be a sleet and freezing rain event. And then down here across the southern tier, northwestern Pennsylvania, it looks like it's going to be a mainly rain event. So it all depends on where a warm front's going to set up. If the warm front farther to the north, we get more warmer air into the storm. If that front sags farther to the south, we get more colder air into the storm. So here's a look at the watches and warnings right now. Right now, there is no watch or warning in place for western New York, but up across on Lake Ontario region, there are winter storm watches already in place, and it looks like the National Weather Service in Buffalo will be issuing some kind of winter storm watch or some kind of advisory for western New York as we head later in the afternoon and into tomorrow. So we will keep an eye on that. So the almanac for yesterday, the high was 44, the low was 30. The record for today, I should say, is 70, set back in 2018, and the record low of negative 24, set back in 2015. So for the rest of the afternoon out there, we got some rain, showers moving through the area now, but that front quickly moves through, and we should get into some partial sunshine for the rest of the afternoon. Highs today will be in the mid to upper 40s. Now, I'll time out that full winter storm coming up in a full forecast, including how much snow we're going to get and how much ice accumulation we're going to get.
All right, Andrew, thank you. And with the winter storm on the horizon, it's a good time to make sure you have a way to get warnings. Download the WNY News Now mobile app. It's in the Apple App Store, Google Play Store. We tailor our forecast specifically for here in the Jamestown area. After that terrain derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, local municipalities, they're reviewing their emergency response plans, making sure they're prepared for similar situations. Although our region has never seen an incident as severe as the Ohio derailment, local leaders tell Erie News Now's Ethan Kibbe it's critical to be prepared.
We're always watching. You're always thinking every one of them railroad tracks has stormwater right next to it, and all that stormwater leads to Lake Erie, where we pull our drinking water out of. It's always on our minds.
3 sets of railroad tracks run through Northeast Township, shipping goods into and products out of the small lakeside town. They're crucial to the local economy, but they're not without risk, as the nation saw this month in East Palestine, Ohio.
It really scares you. We're all volunteer here, and when you look at that, not only are we putting our lives in danger, but we're putting our family lives. We may not come home from something like that. God bless that nobody did, get injured down there. But the report of what was there and the evacuation area they had to do puts a lot of lives in danger, and you just got to step back and think about it.
Now the township, borough, and fire departments are reviewing their emergency plans, a preventative step to keep the community safe. The key to handling any emergency is having a good plan. So the township not only has a state-mandated emergency response plan, it's also worked with Northeast Borough to develop a source water protection plan just to be safe.
So that everybody knows when the time does come, what has to be done, when it has to be done, who's supposed to do what. All that stuff is always in place.
In an emergency, the fire department is the first line of defense as hazmat-trained firefighters evacuate the area and work to contain the incident until railroad response teams arrive. It's a crucial job, not only saving lives in immediate danger, but working to protect the region into the future.
There's a lot of resources around here between, everything we have here, the grapes and everything, and then Lake Erie. Got to protect everything in the waterways, keep it out of Lake Erie. If it gets into there, who knows what could happen.
So as the sun shines along the lake and trains race past, local leaders know how important both economic drivers are, and they're working to keep both the people and the region's resources safe.
Well, if you don't have water, you don't have anything. I mean, that's the plain and simple of it. If you don't have clean water, you got nothing.
Ethan Kippy, Erie News Now.
A woman with a record of driving while intoxicated is accused of repeating the alleged crime. Officers with Jamestown Police conducted a traffic stop in the area of Chandler Street around 6 o'clock Monday evening. Following an investigation, the vehicle's driver, identified as Angel Ormsby, was found to be allegedly intoxicated. The 46-year-old was arrested, taken to jail, and charged with driving while intoxicated. Now, a check of her driving record, police say, revealed that Ormsby had 2 prior convictions of DWI within the last decade, making the new charge a felony. Well, if you're like most Americans, you're probably paying about the same for gasoline as last week. AAA reporting the national average price for a gallon of gas as of Tuesday is $3.40. For perspective here, the price of gas is 12 cents more than a month ago, but 9 cents less than it was this time last year. New York State's average price is $3.48. Here in Chautauqua County, the average sticker tag is about $3.60 a gallon. It's $3.40 a gallon in Cattaraugus County. Demand for gas is down a bit while supply increases. Of course, the exact price and movement vary from state to state, even sometimes neighborhood to neighborhood. Well, the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, they honored 11 local individuals for their contribution towards sports on Monday night during their 41st annual induction banquet. Our Bronson Rasmussen was there. He joins us live in the studio with more on the local sport contributors. Bronson?
Justin? Ranging from local coaches and players to those holding Super Bowl rings, the Sports Hall of Fame recognizes anyone with ties to Chautauqua County that has made an impact on the world of sports. For most of the inductees this year, they were quite humbled to receive this recognition.
Well, it's quite an honor. I never really assumed something like this would ever happen, but I'm humbled to be here with all these more important people than me, I thought.
The inductees range from local coaches and players to those who have made waves in the larger sports world.
I'm blown away, to be honest with you. I'm from Jamestown, was born and raised in Jamestown. I was fortunate to go to school at Duke and get involved with the men's basketball program there, and never got a real job and have just worked in athletics ever since, and have loved every day of it.
This year also includes Bob Bartlett, who has held records in track for over 50 years, and his cousin, Frank Jagoda, who was a baseball all-star athlete and just broke a record in Dunkirk baseball coaching.
I held the Western New York record in 100, 200 meters, all Western New York, all state, honorable mention, all American.
Last year I was fortunate enough to coach, or to break my coach's school record, Al Stumiller's record, with 366 wins, and I overtook him.
For some inductees, they can see the rising talent that comes from our corner of New York State.
Some people from out here think our area is small, but there's a great, rich sports history here, whether it's Jamestown or the surrounding areas, Falcon or Southwestern. We've had great athletes come from here.
Now, the hope of many of these inductees is to inspire future athletes. with their stories to never give up and to see the potential that can come from right here in Chautauqua County. Now, Justin, later in the week, we will hear more from the other inductees, one of which is getting their second Super Bowl ring coming up.
Yeah, it's so exciting, and I think that the whole Sirianni franchise, if you will, has really brought a big light to the sports world. And as you peel back the pages of this story, there are so many local sports figures who originated from right here in Jamestown all over the world, and it's powerful. It's powerful to see.
Really
you can set your mind to anything. We're not just talking sports here. Anything, and you can make it big if you work hard enough.
Definitely. Just even with sticking with sports, you have the names Nick Sirianni,
Right.
Roger Goodell,
Right,
David
yeah.
Hinson, all of them just so popular and so big up there.
Right. And they're good at what they do, and it's remarkable. Bronson, thank you. As we continue this half hour, we have an update on the push for COVID boosters, as we're asking the question if another shot is needed, and later a look at the new cost of living adjustment proposed here in New York State. Stay with us. WNY News Now. We'll be right back.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
So you think you can cook? We're looking for chefs ready to test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine. Judged by a panel of local celebs, chefs are tested in 3 rounds before a winner is crowned. So you think you can cook? Register online at stsusancenter.org. Produced by Channel 716. All proceeds raised benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
Looking for a fair and honest auto mechanic? Look no further than DeWyas Auto Service. Located at 140 Main Street in Randolph, our family-owned business is ready for all of your automotive needs. From general service to more complex repairs, count on DeWyas Auto to keep you on the road. We not only keep your cars running smoothly, but also looking great with our expert detailing crew. Send us a message on Facebook or call us today at 716-358-2292 to set up an appointment. DeWyas Auto Service. Fair, honest, and the best prices guaranteed.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
We know COVID-19 is still around, but if it's been a long time since your last booster or since you had a case of COVID, should you get another booster, especially if you're flying or traveling to see family this spring? Erie News Now's Lisa Adams set to find out.
Talk to 10 people about COVID-19 and you'll hear 10 stories of when they got their vaccines and their boosters.
And I didn't get the next booster yet, but the only reason is because my husband and I don't have a car anymore, so we have to take Ubers and stuff, and it was just inconvenience.
Or perhaps they or their loved ones were hit with the virus itself. Nurse Laura Kaminsky said her parents had a recent case.
I'm a nurse, and I see how we're still having outbreaks, and it's still how quickly it's being spread. My parents, people are still getting it, it's still around.
So with spring break travel around the corner, should you make sure you have the most current booster? The CDC and officials at LECOM's vaccine site say yes.
And if they haven't had the opportunity, now would be a great time prior to spring break, whether it's travel or if you're going home to see family. So we certainly recommend that people get the updated vaccine.
After having the original booster in 2021 and then a case of COVID-19 last October, I was unsure myself if I needed the bivalent. But LECOM pharmacists were convincing, so soon I was filling out the forms.
If you have the opportunity to get something that's going to protect you in tomorrow and up, 2 weeks from now at 100% level, I think it's best to do that.
And I was doing that, getting the Pfizer bivalent vaccine. They have Moderna here as well. Remember, bivalent means it protects against the original COVID-19 strain and its Omicron variants. Lisa Adams, Erie News Now.
Well, an alligator visits New York City. Sounds like it's a setup to a joke, but it was a very real situation in Brooklyn Sunday. Workers from the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation rescued this alligator from Brooklyn's Prospect Park after a maintenance worker spotted the gator in the park's lake. Officials say this 4-foot alligator was in a poor condition. It's very lethargic, possibly in shock due to the cold weather. The gator was captured and then transferred to the nearby Bronx Zoo to be properly cared for. No one was hurt, but the Department of Parks emphasized here the dangers of releasing a non-indigenous animal because it poses a threat to that animal specifically due to the water quality, their species, and in this case, like this reptile, who is not used to New York's climate. Well, lawmakers in New York, they're pushing for an increase in the state's cost of living adjustment. Today, our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein breaks down what the issue looks like in the legislature.
Erin Moran has struggled with mental health for most of her life. She says when she was 26, she hit a crisis point. For the next 3.5 years, she went to the emergency room 14 times and had 16 psychiatric hospitalizations, battling self-harm, suicidal ideations, and childhood trauma. She says the mental health services she received in her time of crisis helped her weather the storm.
I would not be standing here today if not for the services I have received and continue to receive.
Now 31, Moran spoke at a recent press conference urging the governor and legislators to increase the cost of living adjustment. She says this increase would help the mental health workforce that other advocates say is in crisis.
And we talk so much in New York State about the power of community mental health services. And what I was trying to highlight is that the workforce is a part of that community, and the services work because they care about us, the service recipients, and we care about them.
In her executive budget, Governor Hochul proposes a 2.5% increase to the cost of living adjustment, but behavioral advocates and some lawmakers are asking for an 8.5% increase to retain mental health workers.
We need good people, and there are good people out there, people that care, people that are willing to give their time and energy, but they deserve care as well. And in return, that care is allowing them to have a sustainable life, to take care of their family for as much as they're taking care of our families.
Senator Fernandez also says it's hard to say whether or not the cost of living adjustment will be increased in the final budget plan due on April 1st, but there seems to be a lot of support in the legislature. In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
From New York to Pennsylvania, where today state representatives will return to Harrisburg for a special session. The special session days are scheduled Tuesday through Friday. When lawmakers return, Democrats will have the House majority for the first time in 12 years. Democrats should have no issue passing a set of operating rules so the House can function and vote on legislation. Once the rules are approved, the first order of business for Speaker Mark Rozzi is passing a 2-year civil window for victims of childhood sexual abuse.
When I first came to Harrisburg over a decade ago, I had one goal in mind: to see that survivors of childhood sexual assault receive the justice that they deserve.
Rozzi plans to introduce both a statutory bill and a constitutional amendment. They both would allow survivors to file civil lawsuits against their abusers outside of the statute of limitations. Coming up, we have an important announcement on the latest baby formula recall, something you need to know. And later, our Alyssa Wright with an exclusive one-on-one interview with a New York comedian coming here to Jamestown next month to record a new album. Why he's making underdog cities like Jamestown a priority. But first, we return with a look at your First Defense weather forecast. Is this springtime thunderstorm? Well, it's going to be fading away to possibly some freezing rain.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, channel 716.
First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we got a few rain showers out there. The current temperature is 36 degrees with a west wind of 17 miles per hour and a wind gust of 36. Here's what's happening across the northeast right now. We got a low pressure system up across Canada, and that's pushing a cold front through the region. Now ahead of that cold front, we got the line of a few rain showers and even a thunderstorm in that cold front. And behind the cold front, we'll have drier air working in for the rest of the afternoon and into the night. And then that big winter storm we've been talking about pushes through tomorrow afternoon and into Thursday. So let's time it out on future scan for the rest 24, 48 hours. After that cold front moves through, the rest of the afternoon and evening will be pretty dry out there. We'll even get in some partial sunshine before dry weather takes us through the night. And then we start tomorrow off, we start the day off dry. And then we head into the mid-afternoon, and that system will begin to push through the region, starting off some light snow showers, and then a period of wintry mix, freezing rain and sleet will take over. And then by the time we get around 5, 6 o'clock, warmer air will begin to work in, and across Chautauqua County, northwestern Pennsylvania, it will turn over to a mainly rain event. So mainly snow up to the north, and across most of western New York, a wintry mix, and then that warmer air will keep it as rain. And then that system moves farther to the north, and then it should turn over to mainly rain as we head into Wednesday night and into Thursday, while it stays as snow up across the Niagara frontier. So here's a look at the ice accumulations from the models across the southern tier, maybe a couple hundredths of an inch of ice, and then up to a tenth of an inch of ice across northern Chautauqua and southern Erie County. And then you get up into Buffalo area and points just north of that, possibly upwards of a quarter of an inch of ice. So any ice makes it slippery. It could be a slow travel commute around the Buffalo area tomorrow. And then here's a look at the snowfall accumulations. We'll go maybe a half an inch, if that, across the southern tier, northwestern Pennsylvania, northern Chautauqua County, 1 to 2 inches, and then you get points Buffalo and points north. We're looking up anywhere of 3 to 5 inches of snow out of that. And now the next 7 days from Ultimate Satellite Solutions. So again, we start off dry tomorrow, and then that wintry mix moves through. As we head into Thursday, it'll be a contrast of temperatures across the southern tier. Temperatures might make it up into the mid-50s to up close to 60, while portions up across the Buffalo area will be dealing with snow showers and temperatures in the 20s. And then it turns cold for everyone on Friday. Temperatures in the lower 20s with light snow, but we rebound back into the 30s by the time the weekend rolls around, with a chance of a few snow showers as this roller coaster of weather just continues on with no end in sight.
Yeah, certainly does. Andrew, thank you. Well, let's get some headlines now from around the nation. And the Supreme Court is set to hear back-to-back oral arguments that could reshape online speech and content. The cases, Gonzalez versus Google and Twitter versus Tami, are looking at whether tech platforms and social media companies can be sued for recommending content to their users. Justices will also look at lawsuits concerning the support of international terrorism by hosting terroristic content. A 30-year-old federal law is at the heart of this legal battle. Section 230 of the Communications Dignity Act has repeatedly protected tech platforms from lawsuits over user-generated content, but it has come under fire recently as companies like Twitter, Google, and Meta make decisions about content moderation. Rulings in the cases are expected by the end of June. Well, President Biden is now in Poland following a surprise trip to Ukraine, which is now ended. The Biden's first time in that country since the start of the Russian invasion nearly a year ago. But not everyone is on board with this covert mission, including some U.S. lawmakers. John Lawrence with more.
President Joe Biden met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kyiv Monday, saying the U.S. will stand with the country as it battles against Russian forces.
Freedom is priceless. It's worth fighting for as long as it takes, and that's how long we're going to be with you, Mr. President.
Biden announced more aid to Ukraine, including $500 million worth of new assistance, including military equipment and ammunition.
I won't get ahead of future announcements. You'll see us announce some more here very, very shortly, and that'll continue well into the coming weeks and months.
Biden also said new sanctions would be imposed on Moscow later this week.
This conversations brings us closer to the victory, and we hope that this year, the 2023, will become a year of victory.
Moscow is reportedly upset with a comment Vice President Kamala Harris recently made, accusing Russia of committing crimes against humanity during its war in Ukraine. The Kremlin has not publicly commented on Biden's trip, but former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev accused the U.S. of warmongering support for Ukraine. Meanwhile, some House Republicans are also blasting Biden's surprise trip to Ukraine, including Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who tweeted it's, quote, incredibly insulting that Americans pay for Ukraine's government and war. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
We have a recall to pass along involving a popular baby formula. Reckitt says it's voluntarily recalling 2 batches of its Pro Sobe formula. The company says they're recalling the 12.9-ounce cans out of an abundance of caution because bacteria might have contaminated the formula. The recall affects 145,000 cans distributed across the United States. Well, coming up next, an exclusive one-on-one interview with comedian Paul Morrissey, who's hosting a recording later this month for his new album right here in Jamestown.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
So you think you can cook? We're looking for chefs ready to test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine. Judged by a panel of local celebs, chefs are tested in 3 rounds before a winner is crowned. So you think you can cook? Register online at stsusancenter.org. Produced by Channel 716. All proceeds raised benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
Right here, baby. Look. Uma.
Noah. Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
Born in Oswego, New York, comedian Paul Morrissey has a soft spot in his heart for New York's underdog cities like Jamestown, which is why he's making it a priority to record his new comedy album right here. Alyssa Wright with an exclusive one-on-one interview ahead of the show.
I'm super excited. I haven't done a live recording for an album in about 7 years. Most of my stuff has been on TV, so I wanted to do kind of an old school comedy album because people still love listening to comedy when they drive or when they're traveling or on the subway or whatever.
The comedian has made stops in Jamestown previously to perform during the beloved comedy festival and is excited to make a return.
I think the last time I was there was maybe 2016. So yeah, it's been a minute. And, you know, growing up, I did the David Letterman show. That was a big deal, you know, growing up in New York State and be able to do that. The Ed Sullivan Theater.
If anything can be taken from Morrissey's shows, he hopes it is the message to always follow your dreams and don't limit yourself.
My advice is don't necessarily have a plan, just find things that you like to do. If you like writing, find ways to write. And if you like performing, find ways to perform. And you don't necessarily have to say, oh, I only want to do stand-up, because you might end up loving improv or loving just being a writer or, you know, being a director. I guess that's the part that you don't want to be overwhelmed with, you know, when you're 18, hey, what are you going to do for a living? And it's like, well, you don't have to figure that out. You can just find a bunch of different things that you like doing, I think is the key.
Comedy lovers can catch Paul Morrissey live at the Lucy Desi Museum's Tropicana Room March 24th and 25th, with one show at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. both days. To purchase tickets, you can visit the Comedy Center's website, comedycenter.org/events. Reporting from Jamestown, New York, Alyssa Wright, WNY News Now.
We all know that.
News 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. Have a great day.